I recently moved to Los Angeles, and, a big issue here and everywhere in the country right now is gay rights. And I was walking down the street once, and this guy came up to me with a clipboard. He goes, "Hey, man, do you have a moment for gay rights?" And I went, "Sorry, man, I'm in a little bit of a rush." And then that dude watched me walk into a Jamba Juice. And he was a little upset. He was like, "Really, man? You're in a rush to get to Jamba Juice? I'm out here trying to make a difference." And I was like, "Well, actually, man, there's a guy that works in that Jamba Juice that said some really hateful stuff about a close gay friend of mine. And I'm going in there to stab him." And then I pulled out 2 knives and I tossed him one. I was like, "Do you have a moment for gay rights?" "Oh, didn't think so. So sit there with your little clipboard and judge me. I kill for gay people."
Hey guys, what's up? This is Eder, and this is God Guns in America. So I thought we'd start with a little bit of humor since we're about to talk about a very fragile and heated topic. This topic today is religious freedom versus gay rights. Hi, and welcome again to God Guns America. This is Ed, and once again, we want to say thank you to everybody that supported us so far. We've had an even better outcome than we expected. So thanks for everybody that subscribed, that has heard the podcast, and that's sharing it. I really appreciate it. So now, I chose this topic because we're seeing something pretty insane happening, and what very well might look like a near future persecution on Christian faith and violation of human rights or constitutional rights, I should say, such as the freedom of speech, expression, freedom of religion. So seems like the people who demand tolerance are becoming the intolerant ones now. So I'm not sure how many are aware, but there are new bills being proposed in different states that will protect people and businesses from state penalties for refusing to provide services for, say, same-sex couples because of their beliefs in their faith. This, of course, is not being taken very well by the gay and lesbian groups and are calling it bigotry. Arizona actually took some heat because of this a couple of years ago, and just recently, Democrats filibustered for 39 hours straight to try and fight this bill. Both are Democratic presidential candidates have actually had some things to say about this, and Hillary actually tweeted, and I quote, "Marriage equality is the law. I stand with those filibustering in Missouri to make sure discrimination won't be." And actually, I'm not sure how many of you guys have had a chance to see. There's a video that somebody posted, and I've seen it a few times on my feed on Facebook. And it's Hillary, and it just shows how many times she switched position on so many issues, right? And one of those things is gay marriage. So it's kind of funny, and it starts, by somebody asking her if she will say whatever it takes to get the votes, and then she says that no, she's always been constant in her position. And then the guy that made the video did this, so check it out.
Do you think New York State should recognize gay marriage?
No.
No. Okay.
I believe that marriage is not just a bond, but a sacred bond between a man and a woman. I have not supported same-sex marriage. I have supported civil partnerships and contractual relationships.
I support marriage for lesbian and gay couples.
No, you don't.
I support it personally and as a matter of policy and law.
So you're saying your opinion on gay marriage changed, or you changed your mind?
I have to say, I think you are...
Let's stop it. The rest of it doesn't matter. So it just goes on, and it shows as she's switching positions on a lot of issues. And Sanders also tweeted, and she said, "Standing up for for our LGBTO sisters and brothers is a duty of all elected officials. This should make us all proud." The problem is that when the government gets involved in this type of issues, we get things such as churches and synagogues being forced to host these events, and vendors being sued for not wanting to participate. So why the government's getting involved in this, I have no idea, because they suck when it comes to trying to control things like this, right? Because they'll do things in the name of being just and not discriminated that will eventually result in violation of rights of other people. So yeah, I just don't get it. But the problem is, not too long ago, we heard, right, of a case from a couple that had to close its doors and when they refused to bake a cake for a lesbian couple's wedding because of their religious beliefs. And also in Washington, we saw a florist who went through the same thing for not wanting to be a part of such event. So remember back in the day when gays used to say, us getting married doesn't affect you in any way. Why do you care? Well, not so much now. And now companies such as Disney and AMC, which films the Walking Dead show in Georgia, are threatening with leaving the state if this bill is passed. So the thing is tolerance is a two-way street, right? And if a pastor, priest, business owner does not want to participate in their event, why attack them? Problem is that we now not only have to accept the laws, right, which allow gay couples to marry, but we also have to celebrate it with them. Because if you don't, if you disagree, you're a bigot and you're discriminating. This is what I can't understand. The beauty of living in America is that you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. And of course, I don't have to agree with you either. But it seems like nowadays the government wants to get involved when someone doesn't agree with certain ideas or moral values. Now we get to call the cops because our feelings are hurt and force people to shut down their businesses. And this, of course, is called bullying. That's all they're doing, bullying, being bullies. So my question is, if a lot of gays question the Bible, seems like most of them do believe there's a God. However, they do question the Bible and they question a lot of the verses, at least the ones they don't like. Why do they need the approval of the church and the church members? If the law has already given them the right to marry each other, why do we have to agree, right? Why sue the people that don't agree with you or that don't want to be part of your event? Well, according to moral psychologist Jonathan Haidt, people are very much care of what others think of them. If we say we don't, right? Other people's opinions about us do affect us. He actually did a research where he had a group of people come in, and half of that group were people that said they didn't care what others thought of them, and it didn't affect them, and the other half said that they did care, that it did affect what other people thought of them. So what he did is that he would have them each describe themselves on a mic, and there was someone in another room listening, typing what this person thought of the person talking on the mic. And the person on the mic was able to see on a screen what the other person was typing. So it turns out that everyone cared, and everyone's outcome was the same, right? Everyone does care about what other people think. But today our society consists of two different ideas or two different types of cultures. There's heteronomous, which means a group of people or individual control what the rest of us think and do. And then there's an autonomous culture, which means that we're self-governed, right? Nobody forces us to believe or do anything. We have the right to believe whatever we want. So I think we can all agree that we would consider ourselves autonomous, right? We're not subjected to anybody telling us what to believe or what to do. Well, the problem is that we are 100% autonomous until somebody does disagree with us. Then we turn heteronomous and we try to force our ideas in people's heads. Now, this is what I've seen a lot, and let's take a listen to a preacher trying to change the mind of a young woman. She's a lesbian, and this is them basically trying to force each other ideas down their throats. But check it out.
I'm a homosexual, genderqueer atheist, and I love Christians. I go to church. I love the community and the openness of my Christian church.
You're a lesbian?
I'm a lesbian.
Why?
Why not?
Because it's a damnable sin that will get you to hell. It's an abomination.
You
It's
believe
disgusting.
that?
It's unnatural.
Why is it unnatural?
Because God created you to have sex with a male, not with another female.
He created me to have sex
Yes.
with a male? So are males created to have sex with women?
Yes. The hardware works. It fits.
Okay.
properly.
All right, so you're an abomination. You're going to hell. I'd honestly be surprised if this works on anybody. I honestly don't think it does. Again, psychologists, one thing that they say is that when you initiate a conversation with somebody, being confrontational, you might as well go home. There's no need for that conversation. You're wasting your time. You're not going to change that person's mind. That person's basically put up a wall that won't allow them to see your logic or to hear anything you're saying. So again, if this works on anybody, I would be very surprised. But here's the thing: we're not here to condemn anyone. Whether I just lied to my wife, I cursed at someone, a sin is a sin, right? God doesn't care about the size of it. Sinning is sinning. If we look at the Bible, we see stories where God's people did not agree with the law. Some stories, for example, we see the story of Moses, right? The Pharaoh had his people as slaves, and Moses was trying to free God's people. He didn't break them out in the middle of the night, right? Like Prison Break, although that would have been kind of cool, but he didn't, right? He put himself in a position to talk to the Pharaoh, and eventually the Pharaoh agreed to let them go and get out of Egypt. And then we see when the Roman Empire used to tax Jewish people, the Jews, unjustly amounts of money, right? And actually many tax collectors were thieves, but the Jewish people didn't care. They were following the law. They were paying their dues. And finally, we see another story. We see Esther. I'm not sure how many of you guys have read the story of Esther, but the same thing. She was able to put herself in a position, in a high position, right, where she was able to change the law. If you read the story, you would see that the Jewish people were being oppressed. They were getting killed. And actually the king had just signed a decree that allowed soldiers and armies to kill all Jewish people from India to Ethiopia, which is hundreds of thousands of people. And again, after Esther was able to put herself in this position or get to this position and earn the trust of the king, she was able to change the law. And Jewish people were able to defend themselves, to defend their lives by annihilating, slaying, and destroying any army that would assault them and their children. But what about when we're given an order that defies or violates our faith? That's basically asking us to deny our God or what we believe in, right? So there are examples of that in the Bible as well. We see the story of Daniel, right, where again the king signed a decree where nobody was to pray to any gods. Daniel, of course, decided chose God, right? Decided to pray. Was caught, and then he was thrown into the den of lions. His three friends, actually, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, same thing. They refused to bow to an idol as instructed by the king, and then they were sentenced to death. And I think we all know the story, right? The angel of God protected them all. And now, the thing is, a lot of people, as I mentioned before, don't really care what the Bible says or don't believe what it says. So let's put the Bible aside for a minute. Let's take a look at some statistics. In Massachusetts, using the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, they were able to come up with the following statistics. In 2001, gay teens were 4 times more likely to commit suicide. After gay marriage was legalized in 2007, the rate didn't change much. It still stayed about 4 times higher than for gay teens. In 2014, a survey done by The Independent found that half of the young gay people have suffered from mental health issues and 40% have considered suicide. According to the CDC, a study of youth in grades 7 to 12 found that lesbian, gay, and bisexual youth were more than twice as likely to have attempted suicide as their heterosexual peers. And finally, a new study done in Oxford University in the United Kingdom shows that homosexuality are neither based on genetics nor free will. It's classified as an impulse control disorder, or in other words, a mild mental illness. And actually, this was something that was done back in 1968. The American Classification of Mental Disorders listed homosexuality as a mental disorder. Then in 1973, it was taken off the list after failed attempts to find a cure. And of course, we do hear a lot of testimonies of ex-homosexuals being changed without having to suppress anything after turning to God. But let's take a look at another thing. Another thing that we hear is the separation of church and state, right? And for those that don't know, that's actually not something that's on the Constitution. You won't find that in the Constitution anywhere. That was a phrase used by Thomas Jefferson to express the understanding of what's in the First Amendment, which does say that the government shall make no law respecting an establishment of